Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 30 Dollar Tree fall DIYs for you. I have quite a variety of different DIYs in today's video and I hope you enjoy. For this DIY, I wanted to take the pumpkin wreath form from the Dollar Tree. This is a classic. I've decorated this lots of different ways, but I wanted to get creative and figure out a new way to make a pumpkin wreath. And I'm going to use paper bags from the Dollar Tree. What I want to do is I want to do like a crinkled paper, like almost like a basket woven look for this. And I want it to be big strips of paper. So I thought paper to bags from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. So I just cut the bottom off of some bags to get us started. And I'm going to go ahead and just make a good pile of them. I'll cut more as I go. And then I want them to be strips. So I'm going to also cut the sides off of them. That way it gets rid of the side parts without having to open them like this. That just gives me just plain panels. I want them to be large, almost the size of the lunch bag. And I will put them together to make like a caning material to go through the pumpkin. So for the first one, I'm going to go ahead. I was thinking how I could attach the paper to each other. I thought about using a glue stick, but I decided hot glue would probably be easier. And it worked really well and it didn't interfere with anything. And of course it dried really fast. So I'm just going to start by gluing them end to end like this. My first piece is going to be kind of small because I'm going to be doing one of the side pieces here of the pumpkin. So I want to cover all of the vertical parts of the pumpkin and the border first before I do the woven effect, like a basket. So I just crinkle the paper up and I'm going to do half of the pumpkin here at a time. I just put hot glue onto the metal wire, slightly wrapping that around as I, crinkle it up. And I love this like paper look. Wadding the paper up is definitely necessary for this to get the look that you're going to want. Once I get to the end here, I have just enough to kind of overlap the end. I want to cover as much as I can, so I wanted to cover that entire wire. So that's going to be one of my vertical parts of the basket weave. I didn't want the wire to show, so that is why I definitely wanted to do these parts of the pumpkin too. So I went ahead and glued two more of the bag pieces together, crinkled that up, and I'm going to add it to this one. As you can see, the pieces don't have to be very long to do the little vertical parts of the pumpkin. And same thing, I just hot glue that to the wire, just crinkling that, wrapping it around, and at the end also doing the same. Now, I went back and forth whether or not I should leave it the paper bag material, but I do end up painting it. I really love how this turned out. For the third one, I do the same thing. I just put two of the bag pieces together, hot gluing that on, wrapping that around, and finishing this off. I'm going to continue that all the way across the pumpkin until all of the side up and down pieces are covered. And I don't know if you're thinking, you can't do an outdoor wreath with paper, but this is exactly where I'm making this wreath for my front door. And I will show you how I go about sealing this project, so hopefully it will hold up outdoors. So I have all of the up and down parts of the pumpkin here, but I also have to do the border of the pumpkin. I don't want any of the wire showing. So instead of doing just two pieces, this time I did three to give me a nice long piece here to weave. And I'm going to start right here at the pumpkin stem. And as you can see, I'm wrapping it around the wire from the top. That way it will cover everything. It will still look nice and it will go with the same aesthetic as the crinkled bag look. And this piece lasts all the way to about here. And I'm just going to continue gluing the bags together until I get all the way around the diameter of the pumpkin. And I do plan to use the paper bags for the pumpkin stem too. I think this crinkled look will look really good for that. So just two more bags here, I think will finish this part off. I'm going to start right here, and then When I have too much material here at the end, I might as well start covering the pumpkin stem here, but I definitely plan to make that a lot longer. Now we can begin the weaving process. So what I'm going to do is glue at least 3 bags together. This is going to be for the bottom there, so it doesn't have to be super long. I glue them together, crinkle it up, and I overlap the sides. So I'm coming from the top and overlapping, and I do that on all of the side pieces just for uniformity. And then I'm just actually weave this through the different parts of the pumpkin till I get to the other side. And again, on this side, I also go from the top and glue that over the side. I'm going to do the same thing here for the next piece, but this time I'm going to do 4 of the bags. And as you can see, I don't want any holes in the bags. The top of the lunch bags have a little notch. I just make sure to overlap it enough so you don't see that. And it was the seams really blend in really nicely with this project. They're not super noticeable. But this time, when I wove it through, I did the opposite pattern. So if I went above before, I went under, but again, still going over the top of the side pieces like that. I don't want it to be a super tight weave. I want there to be space in between, but I definitely want to cover most of the pumpkin with this weave pattern. And so again, I did a total of 4 bags here, hot gluing it on top, and then again, alternating. This row is going to be the same as I did the first one. And just crinkling that as I go, cutting off the excess paper there at the end. I don't want any excess material if I can have that. And so that's like half of the pumpkin woven. I'm just going to continue to glue some bags together and finish off the weaving process on this pumpkin. So I think 2 more rows here should finish this off. And, it's supposed to look a little bit irregular with all of the paper being wadded up, but I do plan to paint this, and I was really happy with how it turned out. I don't care if a little of the brown will show through since it is all folded up like that, but as long as most of it's going to get painted, I'm going to be happy with it. Now for the pumpkin stem, I'm going to do the same thing. I glued 2 of the bags together. I'm going to start right here, overlapping the wire there, and I of course want my pumpkin stem to be way longer to go to scale with this really large pumpkin wreath. I did another 2 pieces together and glued that side by side there on the pumpkin stem. And I think the 2 of them together, if I kind of wind them together, will be the proper thickness here for the pumpkin stem. And I wanted to kind of go off to the side like that. So I just secured mine with hot glue and trimmed off some excess paper. I do have a little spot here that you can see the wire, so I went ahead and covered that with paper as well. But basically, all of our paper here is done. I glued the stem down a little bit so it would not come all the way out, and just did a little bit of patching here at the pumpkin stem to hopefully provide some strength to that. The paper does have enough structure for the pumpkin stem to stand up on its own. Now, I do want to protect that pumpkin stem when I go to paint it. I don't want that to be the color, so I just put a paper bag over that and use some painter's tape so that part doesn't get painted. And I'm going to spray paint it. I thought that would be the easiest way. I found this great paint. It's called Rustic Orange from Lowe's, and it is a satin, which I didn't really want, but I'll show you how I get rid of the gloss on this because I don't want shiny paper. I start here at the bottom, spray painting that, trying to get all of the paper elements that you can see from the front or the sides. I don't really care about the back. I'm not going to be painting back there. And I just kind of do 1 coat all over, a nice heavy coat as well though. And I just do all of the parts of the paper bag. And I'm really glad that I decided to paint it. Of course, a pumpkin should be orange, and so this is definitely going to be a lot of classic fall Dollar Tree DIYs today. I did notice that you could see a little bit of the brown bag there from the front, so I just went over it with a little bit more spray paint and I let it sit overnight because I really wanted that paint to set up and I didn't want it to be sticky. Now, I went ahead and removed the paper bag here, and I didn't have much overspray, a little bit I was able to trim off there on my pumpkin stem. But what I want to do now is I want to seal it to make it, more weatherproof to go outdoors. I'm going to use a matte finish sealer, and hopefully this will take all the glossiness out of the satin paint too. First, I went ahead and sealed the pumpkin stem, which I hadn't painted. And I just went over the front and the back with that. But I also want to use that matte finish sealer to seal the entire pumpkin. This thing is so big. I had this large box and it was still kind of hard. But basically, I went over the entire pumpkin with one coat of the sealer, making sure to really get it covered. And I really think that that is going to help keep it dry outside on my front door. I do have a little bit of protection. One weird thing that happened though is the unfinished part here on the paper bag for the stem, it left this white residue, which is kind of strange. I don't know why. It didn't do that at all for the painted part. So I think I'm going to have to paint the stem. I actually had some khaki spray paint. So I think that this is going to work and it's going to be about the same color. So I just protected my pumpkin there and spray painted the pumpkin stem, the khaki, so you don't see that weird white residue that the sealant left. I really don't know why that happened. It must have been some kind of chemical reaction with the bag. And then I went over it and sealed it once it was dry. And now our pumpkin is all painted. And as you can see, it's not shiny anymore. That matte sealer really did the job. I got the exact look of orange I was going for. Now I thought about doing a bow for the top, but I thought fall leaves would be really cute. These burlap leaves from the Dollar Tree are really large, but this is a really large wreath, so I think that this will look really cute together. I think I'll do one of the burlap maple leaves here first, and just wiring that around with the wire that's already on there, the top of the pumpkin. And then I thought it would be pretty to mix up some of these like red and orange, like oak leaves. Again, they're all wired, so it's really easy to attach these to the top, but I think a total of 3 of them will look really good. And it's very to scale with the size of this pumpkin. So I just attached those to the top and we're almost done. I just need a way to hang it. I kind of closed everything in with paper, so I do have to get access here for that metal pumpkin stem that was part of the wreath form so that I can use some twine to make a hanger for this. And I want to make this like long enough to go over my wreath hanger for my front door. I absolutely love how this DIY turned out. It's exactly what I was envisioning. And who knew you could make a wreath with paper bags? I love the pumpkin wreath form at Dollar Tree. It's really large. It looks great on a fall door. You could even use it as a large wall hanging if you wanted. And if you're enjoying today's fall Dollar Tree DIY video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button. It helps my videos do better here on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate it. For this DIY, we're going to call this like a squirrel gathering bowl. I picked up one of these bowls from the Dollar Tree. I think they're super cute. It looks like rope and you don't have to do anything to it. It's ready to go. And I picked up one of their cute little squirrels holding a little pine cone. I thought that would be perfect for this. And I actually got my acorns at Dollar General. They're cheaper there and I think they're kind of cute. Now, I don't want this to be top heavy, so I weighed down the bottom with some rocks from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to add some of the floral moss here on top. You could also use Spanish moss for this. That would work really well. And then we're going to add our cute little squirrel right here to the side. This project was so easy and it's really cute. We're just going to simply fill up the rest of the bowl with acorns. And these from the Dollar Tree, they don't have like the separate caps. They're all kind of together. But as you can see, they're pretty nice. I like the way that they're painted. I'm just going to go ahead and start piling them in. And I like the fact that there's like 2 different colors. I really like the fact that they're only $1 as well. I found that the stems were a little long, kind of like a cherry stem. So I just went in and trimmed mine down, just personal preference, to make them a little bit shorter because I don't really see that long of a stem on acorns a lot of times. And I'm just going to fill the bowl up. So it'll look like the squirrel has, went out and been gathering all of the acorns for fall or for winter. And just a really easy decor piece that you could sit anywhere. This would be really cute too, like on a fall tier tray or something like that. I'm going to add a few more pieces of moss here to make it look rustic. And this DIY is ready to go. Pretty easy, huh? Let me show you how it turned out. It's super cute. Here it is, our little squirrel with acorns. I love this one. If you're enjoying today's video and you're watching on your phone, if you could hit the hype button, I would really appreciate it. It helps get my videos out to more people who haven't seen my content. But isn't he so cute? I love the little woodland animals at Dollar Tree for fall. I think they're just adorable. I wanted to do like a coastal pumpkin scene, and I'm going to actually put it on one of these little square pumpkin signs from the Dollar Tree. They're already kind of coastal with the burlap on there and the light blue color, but I want to replace the words on there and make it look really pretty. So I do want to like remove these little bump out wood portions, but since it's glued on paper, I found even with heat, it was impossible to get those off there cleanly. So you're going to have to rip the paper to remove this part. I'm going to try to save these though to use them in the final project. But since I already ripped the paper, I just went ahead and ripped the rest of the paper off the front of this, which actually gives me more of a blank canvas. I don't normally like to do that, but it was inevitable on this one. And I just simply used a sanding block to remove any remaining paper on there, but I'm gonna leave like the blue color on the outsides of the pumpkin because that's gonna be perfect for the coastal theme. Now, I designed a free printable for this, and I will include it down in the description of today's video of this beautiful watercolor of these white pumpkins and a little starfish on the beach. And I did size it perfectly to these signs, which you should be able to find at your Dollar Tree this year. I printed mine out on cardstock. It makes it a lot easier to Mod Podge on without any wrinkling or anything like that, and you don't really have to let it dry. I am going to do that and then put these little blue side pieces back on. I just have to kind of remove the paper from those as well. Now, this is pretty easy to do, just to sand off the paper on these, and the color is perfect, so I really don't have to paint those or anything like that. And then what I want to do is just simply Mod Podge this pumpkin scene here onto the front of the pumpkin. I did have to use a lot of Mod Podge because it kind of soaked into the cardboard there since I did remove the paper. But I just add that and add my printable right on top and just smoothing that out, making sure I don't have any air bubbles. I was trying to determine whether I should cut the wood slats back in the sign or leave it as is because it looks really pretty as it is, but I decided to actually cut it. I just sealed it with some more Mod Podge there on top and then made sure I didn't have any paper there on the edges. Now, you would think you would be able to kind of feel where this little ridge is to cut. I just cut mine with a razor blade, and you actually really kind of have to remove the little slip of paper that would go in the crack. Normally these are a little bit easier to cut with the wood signs from the Dollar Tree, but I noticed that this sign is like maybe like an MDF or more of a, like a cardboard like sign, so it was a little tricky doing this without cutting all of my paper, but I probably should have let it dry a little bit more because I did have a little bit of tearing, but it's coastal farmhouse, so I can have a little bit of distressed look, and I just tried to remove as much paper there from that little slot as possible to clean that up a little bit, and I was able to make it work. I did tear the paper a tiny bit, but I just touched it up with a little bit of paint to make it look better here on my stems, and I think we can make that work. I really love this scene. I think it's so pretty. I will include the link to that printable, and you can recreate whatever you want, but I really do like it on the pumpkin board sign. I'm going to seal it with a little bit more Mod Podge to fix any damage, and then we can attach these little blue pieces back on just with hot glue in about the same exact position that they were on there before. And I love this look. I think it's so pretty and coastal. It really doesn't need a lot. It's already got the little burlap bow on there, but I thought a starfish would finish it off. And did you know you could use these little grow creatures from the toy aisle at the Dollar Tree for some coastal decor? This starfish has a really great texture on it. It's kind of realistic looking, but it's too bright and orange. So I'm going to tone it down a little bit with some Beachcomber's beige acrylic paint here. And I will let a little bit of the orange shine through because I think that'll be cool, but only like on these little ridges or bumps that stick up out of the top of the starfish. I just kind of wiped off the paint from those with a baby wipe, and now I have a much more neutral looking little starfish I can add here to the top. They're pretty lightweight as well, And they don't really grow unless you get them wet, so paint doesn't really affect them at all. I just attach it to the top of my little coastal pumpkin here, and this is how this DIY turned out. I thought I would sprinkle in some of my coastal fall DIYs for you today too. I really love how this one turned out, and again, I will include the printable in the description of today's video. Now, Facebook's being weird and only letting me share 2 links a month, but you can always get all of the links to my printables here on YouTube. This DIY, I'm going to use one of these welcome fall signs from the Dollar Tree. It's really cute and it's perfect for this theme with the fox, the squirrel, the little animals on there. But it's just a thin bowed sign from the Dollar Tree. It's even got a little glitter on there, but I don't mind it. It's on the pumpkins. I'm going to try to make mine into a great fall tray. I wanted a really sturdy wood, so I picked up these wood yard stakes from Dollar General. They were only $1. And they are such a great source of heavy duty wood. This turned out so sturdy in the end. I'm going to go ahead and see how long one of my sides is. I just sketched that out. And then I'm going to add 2 widths of this. So this will go all the way to the top and the bottom when I cut out the sides here. And I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to do the same thing here for another piece. And then I'm also going to cut out a second one because I want to stack these so it has tall sides like a tray. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut those out together like that and then cut it down again right about here because these yard stakes are rather long. So that comes in handy. And now we have 2 side pieces here for each one. Then I can use like the remaining piece for the bottom there. You can see it's still long enough to cover that, but I think I'm going to have to do this in parts. I'm going to have to do the side parts and then the top and bottom because I wanted to make sure that I kind of cut it down to size. And it was a little tricky how I have to attach these pieces on there because I was working around that welcome word that kind of bumps up a little bit. And I have to kind of go to the side. So I'm really going to be hanging off the edge when I attach that to the sign. But I wanted to have a warm, rich color, and so since it's wood, Antique Wax by Waverly is perfect for this. I just take the wood yard stakes that I cut down, and I'm going to stain it on 3 sides with the Antique Wax by Waverly. Just brush it on, wipe it off with a paper towel, and I forgot to take the sticker off this one, so I'll go ahead and take that off, and then just keep on staining these. The reason I'm doing just the sides first is because I want to make sure when I cut down the top that I get the perfect width. So this is going to be a really sturdy tray. I'm so glad I decided to do this. It turned out just wonderful. Nobody would know it was a Dollar Tree sign to start with. And I've been trying to find some supplies like these yard stakes at other stores like Dollar General. I like Dollar General, but I find that they don't have a lot of stuff. I know today was the first day that I had to curb my shopping in Dollar Tree because of their high prices. They had the stacked pumpkins, first time ever available in my town. I was so excited. And then I saw the price. They're $7. And so I only bought one. I told them, I said, I probably would have bought 3 of these if you guys hadn't marked them up so much. I'm sure they're hearing that a lot. And so I'm going to attach this with hot glue now that I have a stain on the side there that wasn't stained, to make it glue a little better. And you can see I'm barely on the sign because of that word. So I reinforced it with my staple gun here on the back to make that a little bit stronger as well. And this is just the first layer of the tray, but it's enough to like kind of get spacing where I want it to be. Now, I'm not going to have enough room to put the board here to cover these little holes. So what I did was I'm going to kind of disguise them. I filled them up with spackle, but you can still see where the holes were. And so they're the same size as the little berries on one of the plants on the sign. So I decided to kind of go with it and make it look like a brown berry. So I just used my brown paint pen, and my brown paint pen's darker than the brown berries on there. So I'm going to go ahead and update the color on them as well. It'll work well with the Welcome Falls in dark brown. And then make little clusters of berries up here where I can kind of make that look like it was done on purpose. So I just did a cluster kind of like they are below, make a quick little stem, pretty easy to do. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I felt like it was a little unbalanced, and so I do add a few berries to the other side as well. And I also updated the color there of the stem on the one that was there originally. I will soften that up a little bit here in just a minute when that starts drying. And now we can go ahead and attach the second piece. I'm gonna have it hang off the side just because I did on the other side and I don't wanna cover up that cute little fox. So first I attach it with hot glue just like that, and leaving room at the top and the bottom for those boards that we're going to attach for a very simple tray shape for the form. And I reinforce it with my staple gun. It was a little bowed still, but by the time I get all of the wood in here, it's not going to be bowed at all. I added a few more staples just to reinforce that. And because it's really important that this all stays together, and this really ended up being very durable. Now that I have my kind of spacing set, I can cut down the top and bottom boards. So I just kind of measure that out with my saw and cut down one for the bottom. And then I'm going to cut another one down here for the top. And that was the remaining of those two pieces that we used originally. I had plenty of room. And so for my third yard stake, I cut down two more here for the very top and the length that will fit there. So now since I had to do that in two parts, I do have to kind of stain these in two parts. So I just do that with some Antique Wax by Waverly. And again, I'm going to do all three sides. I notice these aren't perfectly square, so make sure that you kind of have them lined up right when you like don't stain one side like I wasn't staining one side, that make sure that everything is going to fit together perfectly here in the end. And so I did the same thing here for the ones for the bottom. I wanted to use a lot of rich warm colors and woods. The fantastical forest line at Pottery Barn is there, it's a lot of like leaf patterns, it's a lot of forest animals, and it's a lot of like warm colors and like almost jewel tones for fall colors, which I really love. It's so pretty. You'll have to go check it out if you want to be inspired by them. And I add some hot glue here to the ends and put my sign in here. I'm really going almost all the way to the bottom on this, but not enough where you'll be able to see like a gap between the tray. And I went ahead and reinforced the corners with a couple of staples here on both sides. And I love using my staple gun for crafting. It really can help reinforce things when you are building something from kind of scratch like this. So this is my top piece. I'm going to attach it right here. I'm going to glue this one a little bit here on the edge and also glue it end to end here to form this. Now my corners aren't perfect, but I am going to reinforce them, and it does really solve any gaps that I might have. And I use two staples here to reinforce those corners as well. So the sign is on the bottom of the tray. I'm not going to use it as a tray. I'm going to use it as a decorative tray. So it's going to be standing up. So it's okay that it has like that welcome fall word up, and it's okay that it's like not waterproof or anything like that. Now you're not going to be able to see these, but I also reinforced the top part to make it extra strong with some more staples. Since I'm going over it with the other row of wood, it's going to hide those staples in there, but they will provide a little bit more structure. So I just hot glue on my second bottom piece like that. And that is what it looks like. Isn't that wood so pretty stained? I was really happy with how this tray turned out. I absolutely love it. So I'm going to do the same thing here at the top, hot gluing that second piece on. And then I just have my two side pieces left to attach. And now I have a perfect tray. I am going to do handles as well. No openings or anything there on the side. And I just attached those with hot glue as well. Now for handles, you could really use anything. You could use like drawer pulls, different things like that. I'm going to DIY some with some faux leather from the Dollar Tree. I think that's going to be really cute, and go with the warm colors of this. So I have all of my pieces hot glued on, but as you can see, I do have little gaps there in the corner, and I really want this to be strong. So since I have this heavy duty wood, I decided to use some nails from the Dollar Tree, and I didn't do any drilling or anything like that. I just kind of went in with the nails from that wood all the way down. I didn't have any splitting or anything from not drilling, which is great because I always hate that step. I know it's necessary sometimes, but for this it really wasn't. And the nails don't really take away from the tray design at all, but I love how sturdy this made it. So when I nail each one in, it really gets rid of any gap that I have and really makes each corner square as well. And so I just went in from the sides with both boards, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I used kind of a fairly longer nail from the Dollar Tree. I always try to get, I usually always have all of their nails in stock because I do use them for crafting quite a bit. And just going ahead and adding all of the nails to reinforce this. The very last step is just going to be to add the handles to the sides. And this little DIY fall tray is going to be ready to go. But first, I do want to kind of soften the colors of the little berries that I added on there, just so it looks like it's part of the design, has multiple colors in it. I used a little bronze Sharpie from the Dollar Tree to kind of lighten those up a little bit. And then this is the leather. I'm going to use my scrap leather from the Dollar Tree here to make some handles. I'm just going to cut down a strip that is the same width as my boards there on the side. And I think I'm going to have enough here to make two. Yeah, that would be way too big of a handle. So what I'm going to do is just cut it in half. And this was so easy to do. I'm going to first kind of loop it so it sits up a little bit to form the handle. And then we're going to use some brads that I got from the Dollar Tree to really make it look decorative. That looks really great with the leather. These come with the nails, and I think they're called thumbtacks, but I kind of call them brads. They look more like brads to me. I'm going to first use some hot glue just so I can get that shape that I want. And then I will go in with the brads to further reinforce the handle. And I just glued that right to the top, kind of estimating where the middle of the tray was. And then I just used my hammer to nail these brads right in. These are usually pretty easy to work with. Sometimes they will bend on you, but I had pretty good luck here with these. And I'm going to do one here on both sides. I love the brass color. That's going to go well with this. And this tray just turned out so, so cute. So again, hot glue and brads on this side as well, just straight across. And isn't that sign so cute? Keep an eye out for this sign at your Dollar Tree. I guess you could really do it with any kind of a rectangular sign like this, but it's one of the prettiest trays I've ever DIY'd on my channel. I really love how this turned out. Now, the yardsticks made great wood for this. If you can't find any at your Dollar General or you don't have one, the craft wood from Dollar Tree would work too for the sides. But look how beautiful this looks. The wood being stained, I think, really brings it out. And I love the extra touch of like the little leather handles. So look out for like some rectangular fall signs like this from Dollar Tree. For this DIY, I'm going to take a pumpkin from the Dollar Tree and a Dollar Tree sign, and I thought we can make a pumpkin sandcastle. I want to turn that little pumpkin into a sandcastle, complete with turrets and all. So what I did first was I just removed the stem from it. This is one of the pumpkins that has like the orange on there already. It's not one of the plain foam ones, so it's a little bit prettier to start with. And we are going to make little turrets here. So I took a plastic cutting mat. This is just from the kitchen section at the Dollar Tree. And I traced out like a rectangle and like the decorative top that you usually see on those on a castle. And I'm going to cut 4 of those out to kind of give this the castle shape. You could also use like a plastic cup and cut the shape in the top of it if you had something tiny enough and flexible enough. I went ahead and made a slight overlap on those so that I could put that together. It only has 3 of the pieces on there, but I think that will work. But I'm going to need a total of 4 of these. So I just made sure my strip of the plastic cutting mat was all about the same width. And then I just used the first one as reference to be able to cut these out. And I don't have a template or anything for this. It was really easy to do. You can see I just have the little square sections sticking out at the top to make this look decorative. You could really do this on any size pumpkin. I chose this one because it's a little flatter. I think it's going to have more of the shape of a house than some of the taller pumpkins from the Dollar Tree. And so I just cut out 4 of these. I used the flexible cutting mat because I thought that would be something durable. I can cover it with paint and sand. And I first went over it with some paint. This is the Beachcomber's Beige, I believe it's called, and it has the color of sand. So I wanted everything to be the color of sand before I add sand to it, just because I don't want any of like the pumpkin showing through or anything like that. So I painted everything with that color, including the pumpkin. I kind of wish that I hadn't painted the turrets first because it did make them a little bit harder to put together to glue when I pull them around, and I wanted like a little tab to be able to glue them together. The paint didn't want to stick with the hot glue as well as I think it would have worked if I would have just left those and painted them later. So keep that in mind if you're going to paint yours. But I just painted the pumpkin that color, and I flipped these over and painted these as well. I did use a black Sharpie on these to kind of trace those out. So I was trying to mask that a little bit too there with the paint. But I painted everything that beachcomber beige. And then I am also going to paint the top of the pumpkin too, now that it is dry. This color actually worked pretty well to hide that bright orange color. And again, we are going to cover this with sand because I really wanted to look authentic, like a sandcastle. But again, I didn't want any of that orange to shine through for sure. So this color is perfect. This is an apple barrel shade, and I think it is great for coastal crafting because it's just the perfect color of sand, but it also works really good on like faux driftwood projects. Now that I have everything painted and dried, I can go in and start cutting out little holes here in the top of the pumpkin to attach the turrets. I don't want them to be too large, so I need to kind of see how big I need. And I cut them with a razor blade, and then I went in there with just like a screwdriver to kind of hollow that out a little bit, creating a little opening for it. And then I go straight across to the other side, so it'll be kind of symmetrical. I want one in all four corners of my sandcastle. Even though a pumpkin doesn't really have corners, we're going to give it four corners here. And so I just cut them all out the same way with a razor blade, and then just going in there with a screwdriver to kind of empty that out a little bit. I don't want it to be super deep in here, but I do want it to be where I can put those down in there so the turret's not just sitting on the top of the pumpkin. So now it's time to put these together. I did like kind of design them so there would be a little flap here to overlap to be able to fold those and hot glue those into a circular little fashion here. And I glued that and tried that out. I think it's a little too tall, so I am going to trim them down a tiny bit so they don't stick up too high for our sandcastle. I just added that to the pumpkin and hot glued that in place. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other ones, but first I'm going to go ahead and make them all a little bit shorter like I shortened the first one. And again, I just hot glued them, and I really wish that I hadn't painted them first because I did have a little bit of trouble getting those to stay put, but I'm going to hot glue them all in place. I tried to keep the little tops kind of symmetrical there, so when you're looking at them, they all have kind of the same pattern, and I did that with all four of them. And you can get really creative with your sandcastle. You can give it as many fun details as you want. I really wanted the pumpkin part of it to just be sand, and that is going to give us the fall influence because it's shaped like a pumpkin. But I want the rest of this DIY to be really coastal. So I cut them all down, glued them together. I do have a little bit of gap here where I cut the holes are not perfect for the turret. So I just went around with some spackle from the Dollar Tree and filled up any problematic areas so that when I go to add sand to this, everything kind of has a solid surface, and we're not going to have just like sand like stuck inside the pumpkin there. So that was pretty easy just to touch that part up, and any areas of imperfection there on the top as well. I'm not going to bother going back and painting it again. The color is still pretty good. I just wanted a little bit more solid texture and everything to be closed in a little bit. Now it's time for the sand. School glue works perfect for this, and you can get this back to school sales for like a quarter. I love crafting with sand with school glue. I just started here on the top, and I poured a layer of school glue all over. I'm just sponging that on. You could also use a paintbrush to kind of spread that out. And I also want to go ahead and put glue on the sides as well, because once you start sprinkling the sand on here, it's going to kind of go everywhere. So I went ahead and added glue here everywhere where I'm going to want some sand, including I'm also going to glue sand down inside the turrets as well. Then I just go over it with the Dollar Tree sand. I prefer the tan, but the white would work as well if that's all you can find. And I sprinkle that on there. I put a paintbrush in there just to give me kind of a little skewer there where the pumpkin stem is going to go, so I could get a hold of this, so I could actually turn it on its side like this and sprinkle some of that sand all over. I have done sand pumpkins before, but I've never made one into a sandcastle, so I thought this was really fun. I also went ahead and did the bottom because you might be able to see those at least from the sides. And so I just sprinkle more sand all over, really trying to get an even coat all over. I don't want any areas where you don't see any sand. So then once I get it on there, I just went around with a little bit more school glue and just added sand to anywhere where I thought there might be like a little bit of a bald patch. On the turrets as well, I want those to be covered with sand. And so I kind of just work my way around it one section at a time. I do want sand to be inside the turrets too, so I added school glue into each one and added sand to each one of those. And this is how it turned out. I'm going to kind of dump off any excess sand on this. I want everything to be glued down to this if possible. And then this is going to be the base. You could really use anything. I like this because it doesn't have like an edge on it, this little board sign from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to fill in the hanger holes there with a little bit of spackle to give me a solid surface. But we're going to make that look like the beach as well. But first I wanted to glue my little sandcastle pumpkin on there. So I added some hot glue to the middle and glued that down. I didn't put any sand on the very bottom of the pumpkin, so that should glue down well. And then I'm going around the entire wood circle with more school glue. I'm going to spread that out all over to do a beachy scene. At first, I was going to leave it just wood planks like that to kind of give you that boardwalk feel, but I thought it made more sense for a sandcastle to be in the sand. So I went ahead and glued sand all over the sign as well, trying to make sure that I have really good coverage there and everything is going to stay put. I did go over it with some of the Elmer's spray adhesive. I used to be able to find the spray glue at Dollar Tree, but I cannot find that there anymore. I actually got that at a pharmacy. It's pretty easy to find, but it also helps to glue when you can spray the glue on there. It helps keep everything in place, but you don't have to use that. Then for the pumpkin stem that came with it, it was like very gold and ornate. I want it to look more natural. I don't want this part to be sand, but I am going over it with the Beachcombers beige first. And then I can add some browns to this to give it kind of the wood look. I'm going to use some Antique Wax by Waverly combined with that Beachcombers beige here to distress this. I want this to look like a gnarly piece of driftwood, you know, something that you would find on the beach that you could use for a pumpkin stem for your sandcastle. So I just went back and forth with those colors, kind of distressing this until it had that look that I was going for. Did want a little bit more of the dark brown, and a lot of it tried to blend together. So I just kind of went back and forth with the colors, distressing that, but I really wanted to mask that metallic gold that was on there before because that would not go with it at all. The next step is I'm going to frame this out with some rope. I had some scrap rope from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to hot glue that around all the sides. It's going to give another fun coastal touch. It's also really going to kind of make everything look a little bit cleaner here at the end, having everything framed out, and hopefully keep all the sand in the project. And the brown rope from the Dollar Tree is really easy to blend together when you come to the end here. I just used hot glue and cut that down to size. I go over it with my lighter to try to clean it up and burn off any fuzzies from the rope. And then I want to decorate the beach around my sandcastle. The first thing I did was just add the pumpkin stem in here, trying to get that in the center of the pumpkin. And then I'm going to add seashells. I have a combination of seashells that I found from the beach. The little starfish you see there, I get those on Amazon, and the jar of tiny seashells, I get those on Amazon as well. I'm going to use one of the larger starfish in that package. I'm making sure to hot glue everything down to the board underneath of it. I don't want to just glue to the sand. And since I did a rather thin coat of sand, it was pretty easy to kind of push these down through the sand, hot gluing that to the base. And I want a combination of all different colors of seashells. So I was going through my stash that I've got from the beach recently, and I am just gluing those all the way around. I just kind of want to decorate it instead of having like a moat or something around my sandcastle, which I did consider. I'm just going to decorate it with seashells. Since it's relatively a small sandcastle, I'm not going to do any doors or anything like that. I think too much detail might happen if I did that. And so I am just going to leave the turrets on there. I think that's super sweet. So here are all the seashells attached and our little sandcastle pumpkin. I think it's really charming. It was a lot of fun to make. And you know, if I can put the coastal or beach into a DIY, I'm definitely going to try it. I love this. I do traditional fall probably half of my house, and I do like coastal fall in my living room area because it is always coastal. Check out this cute little pumpkin they have this year from the Dollar Tree. It has like a green background pumpkin with mushrooms all over, which is exactly the vibe I was going for. But I do want to change out the little glitter Give Thanks pumpkin. And so I just went ahead and sanded off the glitter. And I designed a printable of a kind of corresponding plaid fabric with a cute little watercolor fox on there. And I will include a link to the printable in the description of today's video. I printed mine out on cardstock and I just sketched the size of the pumpkin out. If you print it at 100%, it should be the perfect size for this pumpkin. And I just sketched it on there with a pencil so that I can cut it out. I always like to print my artwork usually out on cardstock because it Mod Podges really well and I don't have to worry about any wrinkling or anything like that. This is a very soft like green and orange plaid. And then the little star of the show is going to be the fox. And I think that the fox combined with the mushrooms is going to look so cute for fall. And so I just cut that out. I will do something different for the stem. And I was able to get the glitter off of the give word really easily. So I have a nice smooth surface to Mod Podge this on. I just added a layer of Mod Podge, set this on here, and I put mine on with like a dry paper towel just to make sure that it is laying flat and I don't have any tearing. And I can go straight over it with more Mod Podge, so just a time saver. I do want to put a couple coats of Mod Podge on there to really protect it since it was just paper and I don't want it to get discolored or anything like that. It was really easy to pop this top pumpkin off and now I just need to reattach it. But first, let's do something about that stem. I'm just going to take some Dollar Tree twine and hot glue it here to the back and then simply wrap it around. Nothing crazy. I really want the star of the show to be the fox. And I really like the bow and the beads that are on the little mushroom pumpkin. But I think these are really cute. I was laughing when I was editing this because I noticed that it says $1.25 on the pumpkin. They didn't red sticker me. I wonder if they're going to get in trouble for having items in their store that say $1.25 when they're not $1.25 anymore. And I'm just going to add hot glue here and try to glue it back on exactly where I had it before over here to the side. Now, I honestly can't remember if this stood up on its own before I took it apart or if I just didn't get it together perfectly, but it didn't really want to stand up for me, so I am going to have to add like a little wood block or something to the back of it just to make sure that it stands up. These are like the giant Jenga blocks. I usually get mine at Five Below, but I've heard that Dollar Tree has them, but I have yet to see them at any of my stores. But I'm just going to glue that onto the back. You could really, do about anything. There's that $1.25 tag. It's kind of crazy that they had pre-printed all the $1.25 merchandise and then raised their price. And I'm just going to hot glue it here on the back, and that's just going to make it more stable because I want this to be a standing sign DIY. It was really easy to put together and it's so cute. Like half of the sign was already done for me with that great mushroom design. And I love mushrooms for fall. I think they can be a great crafting touch, and look how cute they look together. And sometimes Dollar Tree signs are really cute on their own, and you can kind of personalize them like this with this printable and make it your own. I love the idea of woodland critters for fall. I think it's so much fun. And the fox, I think, and the plaid goes really well with that mushroom pattern there on the back of this one. And I'm excited for all the new fall items at Dollar Tree. I definitely need to stock up. For this fall DIY, I'm going to make a little pumpkin flower pot. So I'm going to start with one of these little terracotta pots from the Dollar Tree. These are the larger ones that come like in a 2-pack from the Dollar Tree. And then I found this great bowl filler at Dollar General for only $1. I love the colors. It's a perfect color of light green, orange, and ivory. And I decided to cover the entire flower pot in pumpkins. I thought that would be really fun. It would look very boutique. And at first I was going to paint them all the same color, but I love the variety of colors, so I'm going to leave them as is. I just hot glued a pumpkin here, pretty level to the bottom, and then I'm going to do orange, white, and then green. And I'm going to try to continue that pattern all the way around. The bottom here is the skinniest part, so I will be able to fit less pumpkins here than everywhere else, but I also want to do it in sort of a pattern if I can. So I went ahead and glued on a total of 4, and that looks like it covers about half, so I think I can get another 4. So I just kept repeating that pattern, green, white, orange, all the way around here, and just making sure that my hot glue set up really well before I let go of it. I'm kind of pointing all of the pumpkin stems down just for a little bit of uniformity. And there it is. We have a total of 8 pumpkins there on the bottom. We're going to continue building with the pumpkins all the way up. I do want it to look a little bit random, but also a little bit of a pattern. So when I go in for the next ones, I'm going to do the same pattern, but I'm going to go like one over here. So I'm going to go one over to the right for the green. And it is a little bit wider here. So I'm going to be able to fit more pumpkins on this row, but I do want to kind of keep that same pattern going. And I already messed it up because I went green, white, and I wanted green, orange. But that's okay. I caught it early enough. I was able to fix that. And again, I'm just hot gluing. This fits right underneath the ledge there of the top of the flower pot and fits in there nicely. And I'm going to continue that pattern. I'm just putting them side by side now because I knew that I'd probably be able to fit at least one more pumpkin in this row, and I just keep going all the way around, filling that in with that same pattern. I think I ended up using 2.5 packages of the bowl filler from the Dollar Tree. And if you wanted to switch yours up to a different color, they do have different color varieties as well. But I really love like that mint green color for fall. I think it's really pretty. Now for the very top, I'm also going to do a row up here. Again, I just went one over to the right with the green, and then I'm just going to continue that pattern all the way around, gluing it all on. And this fit perfectly. 3 rows of pumpkins, all of the pumpkin stems pointing down. And again, a little bit of a pattern, at least here on the front there where I start. And where I end, it kind of messes up the pattern a little bit, but that's okay. That can just be the back of my flower pot. And I just kept gluing those all the way around. Isn't that so cute? I got the idea of this from like a boutique. They had like a pumpkin candle holder with pumpkins all over it. They were all the same color, but I thought a flower pot would be really fun for fall. So I just glued these all around my little pumpkin flower pot. I think it's looking so cute. I did notice that you could see the terracotta pot through the pumpkins, which looks fine, but I thought maybe I could take it up a notch and make it even more special for fall by adding a little bit of floral moss in between. It's going to give you that mossy feel, and I really like the brown floral moss for fall. I think it looks great for that. So any of the gaps that are kind of big like this one, I just added a little hot glue and added some of that brown floral moss down inside. And I think that really added to it too, especially since it's a flower pot. I think it's going to make it look really earthy. Any of the little cavities that were really small, I just put a little bit of floral moss in there. But any of the larger ones like that where you could really see the flower pot, I did add hot glue and then just put the moss down inside. And I'm just going to go around and try to fill up any of the little nooks and crannies that be between the pumpkins. Of course, because they're round, it's definitely going to have some little gaps like that. And I'm really glad I took that extra step on it because I think it made it look really cool. Now, if I were going to paint them all the same color, like with spray paint or something, like my inspiration candle holder, then I would not be including the moss or anything like that. But I really love the colors and the soft nature of the moss. We're also going to be filling up the flower pot with some faux fall florals from the Dollar Tree. You could also do a real plant in this one if you wanted to. It's got the hole drilled into the bottom there. And I think that looks pretty good. I do have a few more gaps here on the top. I just add a little bit of floral moss too, but I think that the flower pot is ready to go. Let me show you what it looks like so far. Isn't this so pretty? I really love how this is turning out. Now for the flowers inside, since they're faux floral, I do need to add a little bit of foam. I just took one of the square pieces from the Dollar Tree and just cut it down to size here so it will fit in there. just using some of my scrap pieces to fill up the sides, and then we can fill this up with some florals. I also want to make sure that you can't see the foam, so I'm going to use that same brown floral moss that we used on the sides and just glue that on top of the moss to make that look nice as well, anywhere where you might not be able to see a flower. It's not a very big flower pot, so it's definitely not going to take a lot of florals, which is good because Dollar Tree is charging $1.75 for these now. So I was able to get away with only two. I picked up this like orange, reddish fall flower. I think it's so pretty. I'm just cutting them into individual pieces and adding them. I think they're fall hydrangeas. And then I also picked up these little green, I think these are hops. And I think that that is a fun variety. I'm just going to kind of mix those together. And I think I ended up using pretty much all of them to fill up the flower pot. I wanted it to look really full and not really compete with the pumpkins, but really kind of add to them. Same kind of color scheme, but definitely very fall coated. And this is how it turned out, our little pumpkin flower pot. I really love this. I have been wanting to make this DIY, and so I was really glad that I was able to make it for today's video. Now you could use the Dollar Tree pumpkins for the side, but I thought these ones from Dollar General were super cute, even a little bit cheaper. So there's a few things like this that I can find at Dollar General instead of Dollar Tree. So you might always want to check there too for your craft supplies. This is actually a Halloween wreath form, but we're going to use it to make a fall wreath. Basically, I just want the hat part of this wreath form to make a really cute little fall leaf gnome. So what I'm going to do is just disconnect the bottom parts. It's pretty easy. If you just bend back and forth, you can just break off the bottom of the witch hat wreath form. And if you don't have this, you could always do the same thing with like Dollar Tree cardstock if you wanted to cut out a triangle, but I think having a wreath form always makes things a little bit easier. Now, I don't really want these sticking out or getting in the way, but I kind of need them, so I just bent those forward. Every little gnome needs a nose, right? So we're going to use a little wood bead for our little gnome nose, but you can use whatever you have. Knobs work really well too. I've used cabinet knobs a lot. I don't really want to leave it natural, but I kind of want it to look like driftwood. So I'm going over it with like a mixture of like ivory with a little bit of driftwood and go in and distress it even more with a little bit of the Antique Wax by Waverly until I get that fun little driftwood finish that I love. And I think that's going to be really cute for the little gnome nose. Now I'm going to attach it by just using some Dollar Tree twine, and I'm just going to tie it on this like third rung down and tie it to the wreath form and then knot it so it will kind of stay in place. So I don't have to worry about attaching it later. Just going to snip off the excess twine and then we can start building this little gnome shape. I wanted to do a leaf gnome, so its beard is going to be all Dollar Tree leaves. And of course, you know, I love the blue leaves from the Dollar Tree. I think they're so beachy and fun, but you could do this with any of them. I'm also going to mix in some of the like ivory ones too, because I think that will be really pretty and beachy together. And they have these in all different colors now. They have purple this year, but you can do whatever is going to match your decor. Of course, I want some blue in mine. So I start off with that same row that we attached the little gnome nose, and we're just going to start hot gluing the leaves on. I just cut them with like no stem at all, just so I have like the little leaf part to work with. And as you can tell, the ivory ones are a little bit different in color and shape. The blue ones are different in shape. So you can kind of alternate, you know, between the two to kind of make it look good. I'm alternating like kind of blue, white, as you can tell. And I'm kind of going with what I have to work with. I have this part of the wreath form that I can attach stuff to. And so I'm just going to go ahead and cover everything that I can with leaves that I kind of have a solid surface to glue to at this point. And I do have like this bottom row here too. So I'm going to go ahead and start gluing to that. And then we can kind of build out the little leaf gnome beard from there. I'm still alternating colors, trying to make it look kind of random. I'm glad I didn't do all just blue. I think it mixes it up a little bit by having different colors. Gonna do one more like right here underneath his nose to kind of fill in that area. And so now I don't have the wreath form to glue to, so I'm just gluing it to the existing leaves that I have. You could always add something to the back if you wanted some fabric back there to attach stuff to, but I think this is going to be fine just gluing it to itself. I do kind of want it to look like some of them are kind of like overlapping other ones. And so I'm kind of going with that vibe too, kind of working them in and keeping alternating. I want to form like that V shape, like gnome beard with the leaves. Now to cover the hat, I'm going to use burlap that I had left over from Walmart, but you know, Dollar Tree totally has burlap now, so you could totally do this with burlap from Dollar Tree as well. I just want to cut out enough, plus enough for an overlap for the little gnome hat, so I can kind of wrap it around the back. Now, as you can see, burlap is totally a see-through. So I'm going to line mine with a little Dollar Tree white fabric, but you could totally use maybe a couple layers of burlap too if you wanted to do that. I thought this would be easier and then you totally would not be able to see through it. So I'm just going to cut down that same rectangle gnome hat size here for the white fabric and do just a simple lining for inside. Now, as you can see, I had it doubled up, the white fabric, so it's going to be nice and thick. You won't be able to see through it at all. And I'm just going to hot glue what I cut down to the back of the burlap. Just around the edges there. Kind of cleaning up the brim of the hat. I'm going to flip my wreath form over and we can start attaching this by putting some hot glue on the back of the wreath form and bringing the fabric around the back and gluing it to itself on the back. So since I have like 3 layers, you kind of have to glue all of your layers down. But if you put enough hot glue, you can kind of glue them all, almost all at once. And I just want that to be tight, all of like the cut edges to be hidden back here on the back. And to form out that lovely little gnome hat. And I think that is pretty secure. He's looking super cute. I wanted to do something coastal for the brim of his hat. So I thought Dollar Tree white nautical rope would be perfect. So I'm just going to hot glue that on around the brim of his hat, kind of going down and meeting where the little gnome nose is, and gluing the ends to the back. I think he's looking really cute, isn't he? While I can kind of get to it, I'm going to go ahead and use some Dollar Tree twine to tie a simple hanger here on the wreath form on that first little crosshair. And then I wanted to top his hat with something coastal too, so I'm going to use a Dollar Tree starfish for the top, just attaching that with hot glue. Then I decided I kind of wanted it to match a little bit better with like the rope and stuff like that and the leaves. So I just did a quick coat of ivory acrylic on top of our little starfish, just to kind of have it match a little bit better. I wanted a lot of coastal touches, so we went with the burlap, the rope, the starfish, the blue leaves, and then I thought we could finish it off with a few more coastal touches. I'm going to use some of those little Dollar Tree seashells that come in the little glass bottles to adorn his hat to give him a total coastal feel. Now, if you wanted to make this cute little leaf gnome and not do a coastal version, you totally could. You could use any of the fall leaves from the Dollar Tree, or you know what, if you have fall leaves where you are, you could always make them out of leaves, I guess, if you dried the leaves. But kind of the same thing, you could use the little witch hat wreath form, and it's just a simple way to put this little guy together. I'm going to alternate like all different shapes and sizes, kind of mix it up to line the entire top of his hat. I think that's going to make him look super beachy. And I'm just going to hot glue all these down. Just be careful to try not to burn yourself. I love this Ryobi hot glue gun, and you guys know I just purchased the smaller version too. This one puts out a lot of hot glue, and I mean a lot of hot glue, and so it's really easy to burn yourself with this one, but I like it because it does put out so much hot glue. So I think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think about our little coastal fall leaf gnome? It's so cute. I had to make one of these. I think it's adorable. Now, if you want to make yours more of a traditional fall gnome with the leaves, just get like the orange and brown, like fall colors. But I thought it was a fun way to use it with the blue ones. I really love that. And the burlap worked perfect for his hat. And so did that witch hat wreath form. I try to reuse that for other DIYs because it seems to be an easy wreath form to find. These LED wood lanterns that I found at Dollar Tree for only $3. It looks like white wood. It's so cute. It has a hanger at the top. I just went ahead and removed that. And make sure that you have batteries for these Dollar Tree lights because a lot of them do not include the batteries anymore. But I kind of like the fact that they take either AAA or AA because it does make them easier to change out. Instead of, those little cell batteries that a lot of Dollar Tree lights have. Now, I want to decorate the top of it for fall, but I also want it to be like a neutral fall color scheme on this one. So I'm using one of their burlap leaves, and I am just going to hot glue it to the top and cut off the excess. It's a little bit bigger than what I need it to be. So I just kind of put it on there exactly where I kind of want it to come out and hot glue it, and then just cut off the rest of the leaf. I wish that Dollar Tree had these burlap leaves in maybe a little bit smaller size because I do find that they are too big for a lot of my projects. I am going to tack down some of the leaves though, so they will kind of go down the top of it. And we're going to decorate the top of this with some fall florals, make it look really cute, but not necessarily using like some traditional fall colors on this one. And I have about every kind of light and about every kind of color scheme for fall lights today, a wide variety. So that looks pretty good. Now what I want to do is I want to put some floral foam on the top of that to decorate. It's going to be easier to attach the greenery and the flowers that I have on there. I want to do lamb's ear. I thought that would look really pretty for fall. I love using that for fall. I know it's not traditional for fall, but it looks so great with fall decor. So I just take a little piece of the Dollar Tree floral foam and I cut just a little chunk. I'm also going to kind of make it a little bit narrower at the top just to kind of make it easier to hide. And I cut it just to the size of that little wood square there at the top. I attach it with a little bit of hot glue, and that's going to make adding the greenery to the top of this so much easier. Now, I don't want you to be able to see the green foam, so I am going to try to disguise it a little bit with some of their brown floral foam. I'm not crazy about this stuff, but I'm just going to glue a little bit on every side. The foam doesn't really like hot glue very much, but as long as I can get about at least half coverage on here, the florals and greenery will fill up the rest. I just thought this might help mask the green color because I definitely don't want any of that to show. So I do that on all the sides. It is a little bit messy to work with that stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that up a little bit. This is what our lantern looks like so far. And I want to use lamb's ear. So I'm so glad Dollar Tree carries lamb's ear now. It's so pretty. I just take a bundle of 3 off and then just press it into the floral foam. It's so pretty. Over here, I want it to look a little bit different. So I did like 2 leaves that were together. When you can grab them like that and they're still together, it just makes it so much easier. I'm going to do some more back here to kind of give it a little height. And you can kind of mess with them, make them kind of go whatever direction you want them to be. I want it to be kind of cascading down the sides of the lantern. And I'm going to do like maybe 2 right up here. And that floral foam from the Dollar Tree is so soft, it works really well for that. I will add more lamb's ear, but for right now, I want to get started on the fall florals. I don't know what these are supposed to be, but they just say bouquet. And I love the neutral colors of these. So it's like an ivory leaf with like the brown middle. And I am just using my heat gun to iron these. It's such a great trick when you're working with the Dollar Tree florals. If you find that any of your leaves are bent, just a quick blast with some hot air and they just straighten right out and they look so much better. And Dollar Tree greenery has gotten so much better since I've been crafting on my channel. It's almost a pleasure to work with right now. So I just went ahead and did this one on the top. I thought I could leave the two together, but I kind of like doing each one individually so I can get it just the right height. Sometimes I had to like cut off some of the little side plastic pieces just to give me more of a stem where I could push it in there. And I'm going to go ahead and use the entire bundle of these to cover the top of it with the white flowers. I had somebody being really mean to me on my other YouTube channel, Crafty Little Beach, the other day, telling me that ivory flowers are not for fall. And I invite that person to go into Dollar Tree and look at the fall flowers because they have lots of ivory flowers in with the fall decor. And they're great for neutral fall. Now, these are some of the little cotton picks. I kind of had trouble finding these. I noticed they're like more crafter square, less fall, but I think they work great for fall. And they do have wires on them already, so I can use that wire to kind of just make little cotton picks that are just perfect size for this. I think I'm going to use two of them and kind of have them off centered. One on the front on the right, kind of one back here, peeking up a little bit from the back. And I think that gives it a nice touch of fall as well. Now I did want to add a little bit more lamb's ears, so I'm going to get a couple more pieces just to have kind of break up some of the white flowers and give a more leafy appearance up here. And I just want it to look like it is just completely full of flowers and greenery up here because there's really nowhere to decorate inside this lantern because all of the room is taken up by the candle that's in there. And I think that looks really good. I'm just making sure it is nice and full. And I kind of like the height everything is adjusted at. And the great thing about this is it's got like the battery operated candles. So it kind of flickers and doesn't just light up. So let me show you how this turned out. I love taking these like pre-made lanterns from the Dollar Tree and DIYing them for whatever season. The great thing about this one is that you could really use it indoors or out with a battery operated candle inside. And I'm not sure if these are still the same price. You know, a lot of things have went up at Dollar Tree, but definitely keep an eye out. You could do this really with any of their lanterns, but I love the ones like this that has the little flickering candle inside. And it looks so cute. I wanted to show you what that looks like too. So here it is with a little bit of the flicker. I thought we could take this like little vase. I guess it's like a hurricane shaped vase from Dollar Tree and kind of make a fun like acorn candle holder using one of these these are the little glass candle holders. They come four to a package. I really love these. I need to get some more because I think I used all of them in the video today. I'm just going to turn it upside down and sit it in the bottom. It fits in there perfectly, but it's going to allow me to raise my candle up that I want to put in the middle. Now for the candle we're going to use on this is from the Dollar Tree. I really like these little votive candles from the Dollar Tree. You get two in a package. They're already in glass. And since they kind of have like a wall, I can go ahead and decorate mine if I want. So I picked up some of this birch ribbon. It looks like birch wood from the Dollar Tree. And it's a nice wide piece. So what I'm going to do is try to cover the candle, kind of make it look like a birch log. I thought that would be really fun for fall. So it's a little larger than my candle, which I'm going to kind of use that to my advantage because I kind of have to go around this odd shape, right? So I just used hot glue to attach it to the candle hole itself, and then I wrapped it around and glued it to itself. Now I have it a little bit longer on the top and the bottom, and I can just go around and trim it down to perfect size, and it's going to look like a cute little birch log. I love this ribbon. I think it's really beautiful. I think it looks really rustic for fall or for winter. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim the bottom down too. Now I can attach that candle inside on the little candle holder that we put upside down. So I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue so that we can kind of tack that down right here in the middle, just so it won't move around a lot because that is a real candle. All the candles we're doing today are real candles because I want to burn my candles for fall. I don't want any of the LED or electric candles for fall. But you could always modify my DIYs and use whatever is more convenient for your home. Now it's time for the acorns. These are from the Dollar Tree. I found that they have two different sizes. So these are the smaller ones, and I have a bunch saved over from last year. So I'm going to use those too. And I'm just sprinkling those all around the little birch candle holder in there, filling up the sides of the vase. They're kind of too large to go all the way down in the bottom of the vase, but that's okay because it kind of is clear down there because we have the little candle holder upside down. But I thought it would look cute to add a little raffia, like a little raffia nest down around the base of the candle holder. And so I just take a package from the Dollar Tree. I really don't like working with this stuff because it's kind of messy. So I'm going to kind of leave it as is. I'm just going to try to cut out enough of it to go all the way around the bottom. And it's just going to provide another little rustic fall touch. We've got the acorns, we've got the birch log. So add a little raffia. I think that's going to look really good. So I just kind of cut that down to size. And then I needed something to kind of give it shape, to kind of make it like a wreath form. And I thought the easiest way to do that would be to use some of this wire jute from Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to cut a piece down and I'm going to attach it to one side here of my raffia and just kind of use that as my wiry form just by bending it and then attaching it to the other end. I can pull it around and use that wire in there to attach it to itself. And we're going to have just a little raffia base to this. It's just going to add another little fun touch. So I think that looks good. I think I made it just the right size just to slip on the bottom of the vase. I love these vases. I think they're a beautiful size and shape, and they're from Dollar Tree, so I think they are a great value as well. So I think that looks pretty good. We have a little acorn wreath, maybe just a trim here and there to kind of clean up some of the raffia. But I'm glad I added that touch. I think it really looks cute. So let me show you our little acorn candle. It was so quick and easy to make. I really love that birch ribbon. If you can find any of that, I think you could probably do that as a printable too pretty easily if you can't find that. But I think that it gave it a really nice touch, and I love the little faux acorns. Now, Dollar General can be a great source for the acorns as well, and I think they might look a little bit more realistic and they might be a little bit cheaper too. So be sure to check there if you can't find any that you like at Dollar Tree. But let me show you how this looks lit up. I love it, and I think it's perfect for fall. For this DIY, I'm going to take a pumpkin from the Dollar Tree. I chose a tall one because I wanted it to be a little bit longer, and just a wood plaque from the Dollar Tree. I want to turn it on its side like this and make it into a pumpkin sailboat. So what I want to do is cut off like maybe a third of it. I just use a razor blade to go around and cut the outer edge of this. It is made out of foam, so I was able to put just kind of a straight edge in there and cut that off. Now, I do want it to look like a pumpkin that's been kind of gutted out. It has all of this foam in there, so I do need to dig that out a little bit. I just use my razor blade to kind of go around and cut the foam and kind of try to scoop it out to hollow it out. Now, I know it doesn't look like the inside of a pumpkin, but I thought once I get this hollowed out a little bit, I could just paint that and make it look like the inside of a pumpkin. I'm not going to be doing any blue on this DIY, but you totally could if you wanted to. I like the orange pumpkin itself, so I think it's going to make a great little vessel here for our little coastal fall sailboat. Now, again, the styrofoam does make a mess, so be prepared for that when you are scooping that out of the inside of your pumpkin. I mixed a couple colors together. I mixed like a pumpkin orange with that beachcomber's beige to give me a color that reminded me of the inside of a pumpkin. And I just use a sponge to go in here and paint this. I want to add some fun coastal items inside the sailboat as well. And of course, we're going to have a sail and everything and try to make this look like a boat. And the wood plaque I want to use for the bottom to give it a stable base. And we're going to be using driftwood for the mast of the sailboat. So once I got that painted, I do want to kind of make this look like a beachy shore. The first thing I did was just paint the wood plaque with some beachcomber's beige here, just to give it that sandy look. And I also want to add some sand to it as well, just for fun. So I think that looks pretty good. I just want kind of a light coat of paint all over this one. And then I went over the whole thing with some Mod Podge. You could also use some school glue. I have the worst time with Mod Podge. I think I squeeze it like I'm squeezing out paint consistency when it's way thinner. I always do that. Now for sand, I'm just going to use some tan sand and sprinkle that all over to make this look like a boat that is washed ashore on the beach. I don't want too thick of a coat, especially right here in the middle. So I did kind of wipe that part off because that is where we're going to be attaching our little pumpkin boat. I add some hot glue here and just lay our little pumpkin here. I left the pumpkin stem on there because I think it will actually look like part of the boat as well here from the side. And the longer the pumpkin, the better, I think, for that. This is my piece of driftwood. I think it's a little too long, so I did take it to my saw and cut it down a little bit. And I'm going to add it right here to my foam pumpkin. I left my pumpkin thick enough that there is enough like volume there of the styrofoam to be able to hold this in place. And then I also added hot glue to my driftwood here for the mast of our sailboat. This is going to be a really easy sailboat DIY, and it just turned out so cute. I have some of these little burlap pennant banners from the Dollar Tree that are kind of the perfect shape. I wanted a burlap sail, and so you really can't beat that. It's already kind of stiffened a little bit. You could also use like the faux burlap bags from the Dollar Tree to get a pretty similar effect for the sail. Now for the inside of the boat, I'm going to go ahead and fill that up with a little bit of Spanish moss. I've been having trouble finding that at my Dollar Tree, so I've been having to get that at Walmart lately. But that looks really coastal, and I think it helps add a little bit of decor there and a bed to fill with some coastal items. I'm going to add some seashells. Some of these are from the Dollar Tree. Some of these I found at the beach. I'm going to add a little starfish that I got from Amazon. I think that will be really cute for our boat. And the sail, again, is kind of pre-made. I don't really have to do anything to it. It's a perfect size and shape. Now, I did find that I wanted it to be two different sails. I don't want to just attach it to the back of the driftwood. So I went ahead and cut it in half, and then you want one of your sails to be a little bit smaller than your other one for that classic sailboat look. I also decided to arch the inside edges here just so you could tell that the sail was not attached to the driftwood there in the middle, and it gives it just a little bit of movement in our sail. And I think that's going to work perfectly. I'm not going to string it or use any hooks or anything like that. We're going for an easy DIY, so I just add a little hot glue to both corners of our little burlap sail and glue that there to the side of the driftwood. We're going to do the same thing here for our second sail, just like that. And I really love how this little pumpkin sailboat is coming together. So whimsical and fun. Now I'm going to add maybe one more seashell here. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a little flag for the top of our sailboat. I have some great fall fabric in like an orange plaid. I thought that would be cute for a little fall flag here for the top. I just go ahead and put like a triangular shape hot glue on there to glue the fabric back to back like this. Once it sets up, I can just cut this down into a very simple little pennant banner there flag that I can put on my sailboat. Really easy. I'm just going to add it to the very top of the driftwood mast here, kind of going off to the side just like that. That looks really cute. I also wanted to add some fall leaves just to really bring out the fall factor on this. So I'm going to use some of the fall leaves from the Dollar Tree in different colors. I'm going to use a yellow, an orange, and red one. And I end up using a green one too. I think those colors look really well. And I always love decorating with odd numbers of things. And I think it all looks great, except for the white starfish from Amazon. I thought it needed to look a little bit more realistic since I'm using real shells. So I just went over mine with a little bit of ivory paint to distress it a little bit. And now I love it. Here it is, our little coastal sailboat. I love the idea of using a pumpkin for the bottom. It worked out perfectly. And the burlap sail is so coastal and fun. Isn't that so fun? And it is the traditional fall colors too, even though it is a little bit coastal on the little fall sailboat DIY, but it looks so great in my decor for fall. Okay, the next DIY, we're going to DIY one of these Dollar Tree foam pumpkins. I always prefer the white ones. I find them kind of the hardest ones to find, um, especially if I'm going to use something that you can kind of see through, which I am because we're going to use burlap on this one. So, what I do is I just pop off the foam stem, and then I'm just going to use my scissors to cut, a fairly decent size hole here right in the top. And then we're going to use Dollar Tree burlap to wrap that. So I'm not going to iron in this one because I don't think it's really going to matter because we're going to be wrapping it tight around this pumpkin anyway. You really kind of need a square, and the burlap is kind of a rectangle. So I was kind of seeing how much I could cut off the burlap to save for later, and it was about this much. So I'm just going to try to cut a straight line here. This is what makes it easier to starch it, is when you go to try cutting it and it's all folded up on you. But we made it work. And now I have a square of burlap that we can cover that pumpkin. And I wanted to do a fun little burlap and succulent pumpkin with this DIY. And it was so easy to DIY. Now, as you can tell, the sides are a little short, but that's okay. I'm going to use my hot glue and just glue to the foam just as high as I can get it on both sides. And I'll have enough overlap from the other side to get that to cover. This side was kind of falling apart on me, but I kept trying and got it glued on there. Now this side's plenty long enough. And so I'm just going to go ahead and start shoving that in the middle using my scissors. And I do that from both sides. And now we have like 4 little corners like sticking up. And that is what we're going to use to cover the area that wasn't covered before. So I cut off any excess fabric because there's no need to like cram tons of fabric down inside of the pumpkin. You just need enough that's going to get it to hold tight. And you want to grab it and, kind of crease it where it'll sit nicely right against the sides of the pumpkin, and just put the rest of the material there in front. So I definitely trim off the excess fabric on all 4 sides. And when I'm doing this, I am making sure I'm trying to cover the bald spots. I don't really have to cover the bald spots on the very top though, because we're going to cover the top of this with succulents from the Dollar Tree. So this is my 4th and final side. Now I'm going to leave this as is, but you could also wrap it with like some twine if you want to get like each section of the pumpkin, lineated, but I think it looks good enough. Now I picked out 3 of the different succulents from Dollar Tree. I picked out a blue one, kind of an ivory one, and kind of like a honey colored one. And I thought 3 of them would be perfect on top of this. Now these are all built different. This one didn't have a stem when I pulled it off. So I'm just going to use hot glue and glue that towards the back of that hole that we put all the excess fabric in. And the other 2, I have to kind of snip off the stems because I'm going on top of the burlap, so I can't easily stick it through the foam. And so we're going to attach all 3 of them with hot glue, just kind of having them overlap slightly. And it's just going to be a really fun look with a little succulent pumpkin. And I've actually made a whole pumpkin out of succulents. I'll have to post that DIY soon too. It turned out really cute. Now I think that looks really cute and decorative for the top of it. I did think it needed like a little bit more decoration though. So once I got all those on, I'll show you what it looks like. And then I'm going to add a little bit of Spanish moss. So it's looking pretty cute already. I think you can definitely tell that it was a pumpkin. And this is just Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree. I always try to save this if I can after I use it for a project. And I'm just going to take little tiny bunches of it and hot glue that to our burlap, just kind of coming out wherever the little succulents come together. If you had some succulents that like hang down a little bit, you can kind of use that as well, just to give it a little bit more decorative touch. Anywhere you kind of have a gap. I think that looks pretty good. I think this little DIY is ready to go. Isn't it cute? And it was so easy to make. So there it is, our little burlap pumpkin with succulents on top. It was really easy to put together, and I love the idea of topping it with succulent plants. Dollar Tree can be a great resource for those, as I got these there. They also have some really cute ones at Dollar General as well, and theirs are $1. I try to reuse them as much as I can in different like DIYs or scenes, but this one I'm going to leave in this one. Now check out these cute little candles I got at Dollar Tree. One is a fall leaf and one is an owl. So these two candle DIYs I'm going to do together. And I thought we can make like a little mini tiered tray out of the Dollar Tree wood slices. So I have one of the hanging signs that's kind of an oval shape. And then one of the 2-pack of the smaller slices that are more like a coaster. And I thought we could do a cute little tier tray that we could decorate with fall things using those little candles. They're so cute. So for the feet for our tier tray, I decided to use some of the wood stems. I think that's going to look really great for fall, and it's going to go well with our little wood slices. So I'm just going through, as you can see, they come in all different shapes and sizes. I'm just trying to find 4 that are the same height so that my tray will be level, since I'm going to have candles on there. And I don't really care. I like the variety, all different colors and stuff like that. I'm just going to attach those to the bottom of our little oval shaped sign. All I did to that was remove the hanger on that, and it makes a really cute little tray like that. Look how cute that is. Now for the smaller wood slice, the one that is the size of a coaster, I'm going to keep building on top of this tray by using some more wood stems. That way I can have like one candle on that layer of the candle stand and then like one on the lower. So I'm going to use wood stems again. It's going to kind of make it look like a tree. And I thought maybe we could do the owl like up in the taller part of the tree. That'd be really cute. I didn't think one was going to be super sturdy, so I decided to use 2 and kind of put one in front of the other. So you can't really see that there's 2, but it's going to provide a little bit more stability so that I can actually burn the candle in there. So I'm just going to attach those with hot glue. These are about the same size. They're nice and level. And then some hot glue on the tops and just sit our other little wood slice there. And I think this is the perfect little candle holder for these 2 fall candles. I also have some acorns. I thought that'd be really fun to decorate. It's totally going to go with like the fall forest vibe here. So here are the candles. They're really cute and they really do burn. I love these little decorative shaped candles. And look at the texture on the little fall leaf. It's so beautiful. I really like this color. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it ready to attach it to the base, like right down here. And then the owl is kind of like, I think they had different colors. This one's kind of a reddish color, kind of a maroon color. Look how cute he is. I love owls. And now my son is going to college and he's an owl. So it's going to make my owl obsession worse. I've been sending him owls. I sent him a plush owl. I sent him an owl for his desk. Really fun. And so then I thought maybe one of these little fall picks would have some cute decor items on it. And I think these little faux berries really kind of match the colors of the 2 candles. So I can kind of nest that between the 2 trays and kind of have it peek out. I think that would look really cute. There's also like some little branches on this one. So I'm going to kind of have those peek out the other side here. And then I thought we maybe could use like one of these little acorns as well. I don't think I have room for a lot, but maybe just like one right here in between the 2 tiers there of our little candle holder. And then I am just going to use a little hot glue just to tack the candles down, just going to help them stay into place. As I burn them, I don't want them falling over or anything like that. And I put the leaf on the bottom, the owl on the top tier, and this was so much fun to make. What do you guys think about these 2 fall candles? I think they are adorable, and I just had to find a way to display them, and I wanted something really rustic. Using the little wood slice ornaments and signs from the Dollar Tree worked out perfectly for me, and I love the fact that it's kind of tiered too, like that. And I just added a little bit more fall decor here to the sides. Now, I'm probably not going to burn them, but I did want to light them just to show you how cool this looks. And I absolutely love it. A little fall leaf and a fall owl, and it looks perfect at night. I picked up just a Dollar Tree pumpkin sign. It doesn't matter what it is. I just wanted a pumpkin that had a stand, and I want to be able to DIY it myself. So I just popped off the little pumpkin that was on there. This has like glitter and fabric and a little raffia bow on it. I don't really want to have to pull the fabric and stuff off. So I'm just gonna kind of paint over everything. It's gonna seal in all that glitter, kind of hide the fabric and everything. And I thought the fabric would give me something nice to attach the seashells to, because we're gonna be making a seashell pumpkin for this one. The color that I'm using is, I think, cashew and chalk paint, just to give me a nice like tan background, something that's gonna kind of blend in and go more with the seashells that we're going to add to the front of this pumpkin. I did tape off the base of it, so I didn't get any paint on that, but I do want to distress it a little bit. I just wanted it to be the way I wanted it to look. So I just go over that dark wood that's on there, and I just dry brush some of that light color on it to kind of give it more of a driftwood vibe down there. So it's not quite so dark and contrasting against it. Now for the seashells, I'm going to use the Dollar Tree seashells. These are the ones that come in the little glass jars. I know they can be a little tricky to find anymore at Dollar Tree. And so another option is to get them on Amazon. I got a great big jar of them the other day on Amazon. You get like 1,200 of them. They're pretty inexpensive. And I have those linked in my Amazon shop in the description of today's video too. If you need some little tiny seashells like this, but you could always use some larger ones if you wanted. I wanted tiny because I want this pumpkin covered with them. So I do my first row like that. And then for my next row, I'm going to kind of try to nest them in a little bit in between them, sandwiching it all together, covering as much of the pumpkin as I can. And I'm trying to use like all the same colors. I had a lot of this color, and so I thought I would go with that. As you can see, you know, they are different shapes and sizes, but that kind of adds to the beauty of this project. And it does take a while to hot glue these on. I'm just putting hot glue on the top arch and gluing those on. And you do have to kind of try them on for size first to make sure they're going to fit. But I'm going to speed this way up because it is a little bit time consuming to glue all of these on. But I absolutely love how it turns out. Anytime I can encrust something with shells like this, I think it looks so beautiful. And seashell crafting is always fun. Whether you buy your seashells like this or find them at the beach. Now, if you wanted yours to be more colorful, you could kind of switch up the colors. As you can see, the ones that I have from the Dollar Tree were pretty much all about the same kind of color. Some of them had a little bit of gray in them here or there, which I used those too, just because I thought that was fun. But again, I wanted them all to be a little bit different from each other. Now, when I get to the pumpkin stem, instead of doing shells on that part, I thought I could build it out a tiny bit with just some popsicle sticks. So I just cut the ends off a popsicle stick, and I can kind of make the pumpkin stem go off to the side like this. And so I'm just going to attach one of them on the front and one of them on the back like that. And it's going to extend the pumpkin stem over to the side. And then I can wrap it with some Dollar Tree twine. I thought that would go good with the coastal fall aspect of the sign. Just going to remove this tag back here. I'm going to attach the twine right here at the base with some hot glue and just wrap our new little pumpkin stem. And I'm glad I did that because this sign in particular has just a really small stumpy pumpkin stem on there. And I wanted to give it just a little bit more character. Since I'm wrapping it, you won't be able to tell that there's different pieces of wood in here and that the popsicle sticks in here. It kind of makes it all kind of flow seamlessly. When I get up here though, I do start adding some hot glue just to kind of make sure that it doesn't fall off as I make that transition. And especially when you get like to the tips and stuff like that, you're going to have to use some hot glue to kind of finish it off. But I think it's looking really cute so far. What do you think? I really enjoy fall DIYs. I think I've probably done more fall DIYs on my channel than I've done anything. It's just so much fun to decorate for fall. And anytime I can incorporate a little bit of coastal into it, it's great too. As you can see, my Dollar Tree pumpkin sign was a little bit off center. I did try to kind of bend it back and forth. You really can't tell on the final project though. For the little pumpkin tendril, I just take some of the Dollar Tree wired jute and just wrap it around something round to give me a little curly cue. And then I'm just going to attach it back here to the back. That kind of twine, it matches in with the twine being the wired jute like that. Having that go off to the side a little bit. And then I always like to add like pumpkin leaves of some kind. I had a little bit of this greenery left over from, I think, a Target dollar spot greenery that I had. But it has these really cute little green leaves, so I thought they would be perfect. They're not too bright. And again, I don't like to necessarily do traditional fall colors all the time for my fall DIYs. I just glue one like that, and here is our little shell pumpkin. Really cute. Just a little time consuming to glue all of those seashells on there, but I think it was well worth it. Now, I've been having trouble finding seashells at Dollar Tree for a while, and a lot of times I like to buy them in bulk on Amazon too. I do have some linked in my Amazon shop, but if you can find like all of the same kind of shells or use just the same kind of shells, I think it can give you a really great texture here. Now check out this beautiful autumn blessing sign that I got at the Dollar Tree. It's so pretty. It's nice and thick, has no glitter on it, so you know I'm already a fan. But instead of the wood leaf cutout on there, I thought we could glam it up with some gold. So using that acrylic metallic gold and a small brush, I'm gonna do my best just to paint the leaf and try not to paint the sign underneath of it. I thought about making like the inside of the leaf like a different color or to make that gold too, but I really kind of like the contrast against the white sign. And I love the words autumn blessings on there. I love the fact that it's not glitter again, and I think it's really pretty. But we're gonna take this just Dollar Tree sign and we are just gonna try to make it extra special. It did take a little bit of time to paint that. And you can see that you really just don't get that gold metallic with that one coat. So I did have to go in here with a second coat and a tiny brush, just kind of keeping a baby wipe handy for when I do get it on the sign that I'm quick to act. I can clean that up right away. But you could even do 3 coats if you wanted a little bit more bling, but I was kind of happy with 2 coats. Now, to make it even more special, I'm going to layer it on another Dollar Tree sign. I'm going to use one of their chalkboards. I'm a big fan of those. They're a great size. They don't bow or anything like that. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the hanger on that. And we're going to cover it in this great metallic wallpaper that I found at the Dollar Tree, removable wallpaper. But first, I kind of need to get the tag off the back. I want to cover the back of it just because I don't have that image coming through. I don't want that showing through my paper, but that tag on the back is always a little bit of a challenge. It always requires heat, scraping, and some Goo Gone. Now I want to cover the side that's going to be the back, this side, with just some cheap contact paper from the Dollar Tree, just to make it have a finished back. I don't really want to cover that side with my wallpaper again because I don't really want you to be able to see any of the words through it. So it doesn't have to look perfect. It's just the back of the sign. And so I'm just going to smooth that out the best that I can with my little Cricut scraper. And then I can go in with the Dollar Tree sanding block and just scrape all the edges of this. It's so thin, this contact paper, that it really does give you a perfect cut. Now, this is a side that I wanted to work with, and this is the wallpaper that I found at the Dollar Tree. It's white with like a metallic gold pattern on it. I think it's gonna be perfect. So again, it's just peel and stick like a giant sticker. And my piece was a little wrinkled, but I was able to get it on there and get everything smoothed down, and you can't really tell. I did use my scraper to try to get some of the wrinkles out, and that definitely helped. And then again, using my sanding sponge to go around all four edges and cut it down just like we did for the back of this piece. And then I'm gonna layer this underneath that sign that we just painted with the gold leaf. And it's gonna provide a really fun like metallic frame-like border to it and just make it a more substantial piece. Just popping my holes back through all of my vinyl that I've added to it. And I'm gonna go ahead and make a new hanger by taking some Dollar Tree twine, hot gluing the ends to make it easier to thread through all this stuff, and just knotting that on the front on both. Now here is our autumn blessing sign. I no longer need the hanger for this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that, and then we can attach that. And you can see it's just making this beautiful sign. It's already beautiful, just way more substantial and even more beautiful. So I just do hot glue all over the back of that sign and try to center that, laying that on, gluing it down. Now the only thing I had to cover up were those holes in the top. And I thought maybe I could use some of these stickers from the Dollar Tree and do like the little four corners. It was kind of a tight fit, but it did solve the problem here that I was trying to cover up, which was the holes in the autumn blessing sign. So I'm gonna line that up with like the corner touching that great little round inset there, and just line that right up. The only thing I was worried about is down here, I did slightly cover part of the bee, and I wasn't sure about that, but I decided to go with it. I thought this would be the best way to cover those holes in the top. And so then we're just gonna go ahead and attach the other two. And it did give it a little bit more bling, a little bit more fanciness, more glam. And I think that's a perfect final touch to this little autumn blessings sign. It was already really beautiful to begin with, and I think we even took it up a notch. You can see how beautiful that metallic gold looks for fall. I love taking Dollar Tree signs when they are beautiful like this already, combining them with a couple other signs like I did here to make just a larger, more substantial piece. It's not going to be that thin, cheap sign. When you layer them, you know, you're going to get a lot of extra thickness there. I love the gold color for fall. I think it's really pretty, and I love using that removable wallpaper. Now for this DIY, I picked up a candlestick from the Dollar Tree. It has a great shape, and then I picked up a leaf tray from Goodwill. It was only 99 cents, and I thought we could put the two pieces together and make a really beautiful little gold leaf tray that we can use for a candle holder. So I just took the tag off of this. Otherwise, I think it's good and ready for painting. I am going to go ahead and glue the glass candlestick to the bottom as a base. I really like the shape of that candlestick. And to do that, I'm going to use some of this multi-purpose cement from the Dollar Tree. It's kind of like an E6000. And it says it does glass and ceramic, so we shall see. The only problem with using this kind of glue, it is going to make it stronger long term, but you do have to wait. It's going to have some drying time before it's going to set up. I just put glue on the top of the candlestick and then lay that on the bottom of the little leaf tray. I could have always painted the pieces separately, but I decided to glue it together first and try to let that set up. Now I'm going to use this gold metallic spray paint again. We're going to spray paint everything. The top, the bottom of the leaf, the candlestick, everything. So once I get that dry enough to like hold, I'm going to take that outside and give it a nice spray paint. And look how beautiful that Goodwill dish looks now with the gold. It really takes it up a notch. And I love how it turned out. I was trying to do all the spray painting outside, and it was so like rainy and humidity, but I was actually had pretty good results. Now for the candles, I found these great tea light candles at Dollar Tree. The colors are really beautiful for fall. We've got yellow, orange, and brown, and they're shaped like little oak leaves. I think these are going to be perfect. I'm going to use all three of these little tea lights, just kind of scattering them around our little leaf tray, kind of like that. And I'm blown away with how beautiful that tray looks gold. And then again, some of the Dollar Tree acorns. This time I'm not going to paint them gold because they would just kind of blend in with the little leaf. But I'm just going to kind of scatter those all around the little leaf tray as filler. I didn't want to do anything flammable so that I could light these candles. And just arranging them to get them the way that I like them. I didn't want to use any sand or anything in there because I wanted you to be able to see the great veins in that leaf dish. And Dollar Tree has really been carrying a lot of little dishes like this with fall shapes so that you could do the same thing. I know mine was thrifted, but I have seen really similar ones at Dollar Tree if you want to recreate from there. I love the gold metallic color, and it was a fun way to display those little fall candles that I found from the Dollar Tree. Isn't that so cute? I wanted to decorate my tier tray. This is my 2-tier tray that I got on Amazon. It is rectangular shape, so I really love that. It's really fun to decorate. I wanted to do a fall woodland theme on this one as well, and I found some great, really shiny items at the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to kind of have a shiny theme, but also a fall critter theme on this one. So this vase is going to work perfectly because it's shiny glass. It's got a mushroom on it, orange for fall. I'm just going to fill it up with some sand from the Dollar Tree. And I actually found some shiny like feathers here from the Dollar Tree. They're grass with feathers that I think will look really cute in this vase. It's going to make my top tier really tall, which I don't mind, but I think the turkey feathers go great with like the fantastical fall theme that I've done so much in my house. I love that for fall. I picked up 3 of these from the Dollar Tree, all a little bit different colors, as you can see. I thought the variety of these would look really good. I just went ahead and removed the tags. I'm going to leave them all together, but I'm going to kind of spread them out so I can mix all the different colors of grasses and feathers together in this. And I think 3 is the perfect size to fill up this fall vase. So this is going to be the first item for my tier tray. Really easy, and I needed something really tall because I'm going to be adding one of those great little fall plates there to the top of my tier tray, and I need something that you can see behind it. So this is definitely going to be tall. I'm going to put it right here in the back of my top tier, and I did want to kind of arrange it a little bit, kind of mix up the grass, make it look a little bit more random here, and the feathers until I was happy with it. Let me zoom out to show you the whole thing. Definitely a large project for the top of my tier tray, but I think it's really cute and it's going to go well with the theme. The other item I'm going to put in the back are some of these little straw bales from the Dollar Tree. You might want to cut these open over a trash can because they are very messy when you first take them out of the package, as you can see. I'm just going to stack 2 together to have something tall in the back, but something, that you're not really going to be able to see much of it, but you'll be able to see the side of it. So I'm just going to stack them like little hay bales here in the back just to have something large back here with a fall theme. I think that's going to work well like that. And then here is the third plate that I got at the Dollar Tree. This one is the fox. So cute. I'm going to use another one of those plate holders from Amazon. All I have to do is remove the tag on this, and this is going to be ready to go. The tags were not too bad on these plates or cups. Sometimes the Dollar Tree tags can really fight you. Heat always seems to be my secret weapon on those. And this is going to be so cute on the top tier. Again, it's kind of large, which is why I picked the large items to go behind it. I'm just going to put this right here in front of the pole of my tier tray and put my little fox here right in front. He's really shiny. Let me turn off my flash there so that you can get a better look of him. I think he's really cute. The next items I'm going to add are a couple of these little gourds that I got at Target Dollar Spot. The only thing is I wanted to make them shiny. Everything that I got at the Dollar Tree for this project are shiny. So I'm going to use some Mod Podge gloss to make them shiny. They had a very matte finish, and they're just 2 gourds. I just sprayed them with 1 coat of that gloss Mod Podge, and they really made them shine. The items that I'm going to be using for the bottom tier are the ceramic items from the Dollar Tree, and they're super shiny like this. So I thought this would make it coordinate well. And I don't have a lot of room, which is why I'm using some smaller items. I'm going to lay one down and stand one up and just kind of decorate the sides of that great little fall plate. And this is how my top tier looks so far. So cute. But let's start decorating down here at the bottom. I have a lot more room down here on the bottom of my tier tray. The first item I'm going to use is this little ceramic pumpkin dish that I got at Dollar Tree. I wanted a really easy tier tray, and so most of these items are ready to go, which are my favorite. The green color is perfect for my green and orange that I'm going with. And I'm going to use a plate stand for this as well. It'll make it stand up nicely. It'll make it really tall here in the back. It matches the color of the fox plate really well with that color of minty green color. So I think that's going to fit perfectly. The next item I found from Dollar Tree is this mushroom. Isn't it so cute? It's a ceramic top with like a wood mushroom stem. It did have a sticky tag on there. I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. I want to leave the natural wood on the mushroom, and I think that looks really pretty. The color is very neutral with that like almost like a pink tone, but I love the ceramic gloss on there, and I was going for a shiny look on these, and so I'm going to leave it that color, and it's nice and tall, so I can add that to the back as well, and you should be able to see it. The next item I found was from the Dollar Tree, glossy ceramic gourd. This one is like a white with a green leaf, really pretty, and of course, ready to go. I'm going to display it here next to that pumpkin. I think they look really nice together. The next item is a fox from the Dollar Tree. This is the fox that has the little apple from the Dollar Tree. The only thing is this is the only piece from my bottom of the tier tray that doesn't have the gloss. So we're going to make it glossy as well by using some of that glossy Mod Podge. You can also use like any kind of gloss sealers if you ever want to give that glazed look to a ceramic item from the Dollar Tree. He's really cute, and I think he looks even better when I made him shiny. So I just sprayed him with one coat. Now he's shiny just like the rest of them, and I'm going to place him here in the middle of my tray. The next item for this bottom tier tray is this glossy little orange. Look how pretty this is. I love it. Doesn't need anything. The colors are perfect, and it's nice and small. So I'm going to put it right here in the front corner of my tier tray. And you can see how I was talking about all of the glossy items. The next glossy item that I found from the Dollar Tree is one of these owls. They have these in a couple different colors, but it goes great with my fall woodland critter theme that I wanted to go for this tier tray. And it's nice and small, so I'm going to put it in front as well. So many fun ceramic items down here, really filling that up. To finish it off, I'm going to use this little wooden welcome sign. That is a pumpkin from the Dollar Tree. It's not glossy, but since it's wood, I'm going to let it go. It did have a super sticky tag on the back of it, so that was pretty much the DIY on this one. Was just getting that sticky tag off of the back of it. I think this is going to work well for the front of the bottom of the tier tray, and it can kind of hide the pole in the middle as well, so it's not really going to block anything behind it. But I didn't do anything directly behind it besides filler because you wouldn't be able to see it back there anyway. But I think that looks really cute. So many fun items for this tier tray, and again, so easy. For filler, I'm going to use some faux fall leaves. I actually got these at Walmart, walmart.com. I liked the neutral colors of these, but you could always use fall leaves from the Dollar Tree. They had this light green color, which I really appreciated. And so I am going to just cut off some of these to use as filler, mainly for the bottom tier, to go around all those beautiful ceramic fall items. I did do a couple of them in brown as well. And I was surprised to see they also had these like kind of bright green leaves on there, but I like them. I like the contrast. I think those will work well too. So I'm going to go ahead and use 3 of those as well. They're a little bent up, kind of like Dollar Tree fall leaves, but if you use a little heat from a heat gun or a blow dryer on those, you can make them look so much better. I'm going to do that on these little ones as well, just to open them up a little bit better so you can see them. But this is going to be great filler for that bottom tier. I'm just going to start scattering the fall leaves all over. They'll look like fallen leaves. Just a perfect filler, and I really do appreciate the neutral colors. They really let all of my pieces shine, and they fill up all of the gaps between all of the items. So many like little fun items down here. Mushrooms, pumpkins, gourds. We have a fox, an owl, and a little welcome pumpkin there on the front. I love it. I thought about doing like a little mini pennant banner for this tier tray, but I didn't really think it needed it. I think it's really cute on its own. So I'm just, again, filling it up with filler, making sure you can see all these cute little items. Another fun thing that I wanted to use for fall filler are acorns. These are the acorns from Dollar General. They're only $1. They're super cute. You could also use the faux acorns from the Dollar Tree. They have them in lots of different colors. I'm just going to scatter some of these around as well for filler, and perfect for the fall theme. Just anywhere that kind of needed something, I just tossed an acorn. Really easy. I don't really need a lot of filler for the top tier, but I have a little bit of room, so I'm just going to add a pine cone right here behind that gourd to finish off the top tier. Now, I know only some stores got like the little fox and animal things. Last year, I was lucky enough to have one of those stores for that little plate on the top. I really hope they bring that little woodland critter line back this fall. It's definitely one of my favorite fall lines they've ever had. I got so many cute things for my fall coffee bar as well that I did in a matching theme to this. I love the fact that everything's super shiny, kind of has the same sheen. Using the little plate there on the top really filled up a lot of space, but I also have some fun little coastal touches here peeking out on the sides with the hay, the gourds, and the pine cones. I love decorating for fall. I'm so glad that it's almost that time. I know it's a lot of my viewers' favorite season as well, because my fall videos always seem to do the absolute best of anything year round. So I'm really glad that fall crafting season is upon us. Anytime I can craft with like the little woodland fall animals, I love it. Like the fox, the raccoon, the squirrels, different things like that. And I tried to incorporate a lot of those in today's video. But I also wanted to bring you a little bit of coastal fall crafting today so that you had lots of inspiration for how you're going to decorate your home this fall. I really hope you enjoyed this tier tray. It was a really fun one to put together and really simple because I was able to find a lot of the items already pre-made. And I just had to make some slight modifications to make them work for what I wanted. The fall signs at Dollar Tree, like that little pumpkin, are so cute already on their own, and I love the fact that we don't really have to craft those anymore. But now it's time for the final reveal. I really hope you enjoyed these 30 fall Dollar Tree DIYs. Let me know your favorites down in the comments below. This is my QR code that you can scan with your phone camera. If you would like to buy me a coffee, I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the final reveal.
Open up the window. I'm breathing in the last of September. I can feel the wind blow, and the late summer sky is like a giant ember. Everything is turning into gold when the autumn leaves are playing chase. It puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. since I was a little child. Every year for as long as I remember, all the leaves were running wild, going all the way until November. Turn the world around us into gold. When the autumn leaves are playing chase it, puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. I wonder where they're going, the flight of swallows sailing through the sky. There's no way of knowing, but maybe someplace far from you and I. When the autumn leaves are playing chase it, puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. When the autumn leaves are playing chase it, puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. Dancing through the last days of September.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's fall crafting marathon. I'd also like to thank my YouTube members for supporting my channel here on YouTube. Thank you so much to Jamie Job, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, Maren Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Red Mama, Renee Albanese, Jenny, Debbie Austin, Lizette Thomas, Amy Branham, Mary Renzel Park, Jennifer Diddy, and Karen Stanton. I really appreciate each and every one of you. If you would like to become a member, it's $4.99 a month. You're free to cancel at any time, and I definitely appreciate the support. If you would like more fall crafting inspiration, be sure to check out one of these DIY videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting for fall.